Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Domain. It's been a while since we've seen everyone. Happy to be here. We've got some great guests today, and we're going to talk about the return and the start of the Shibuya incident. I'm super excited to have both these guys here today. So first things first, I'm going to introduce the man, the myth, the legend himself, QuirklessShinobi.
Glad to be here, man.
No, thank you so much for being here. Tell the chat, if they're unfamiliar with you, what you do and where they can find you.
I am an on-topic Jujutsu Kaisen YouTuber for the most part. I just do chapter reviews and some theories. So if that's your stuff, you can check out my channel.
On topic. I like that. I like that title designation. That's interesting. And then I've got also another legend. I've got Zhoniin with me today.
Hello, everyone.
And
I'm here to talk about this episode.
Zhoniin, what are you famous for? What does the world know you for? Besides the man that can't tell between kilometers and meters.
That's pretty much it.
That's all you're known
Just
for?
that. Yeah.
If you were to die today, that's what's gonna get put on your tombstone?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm not, you know what? I wouldn't even hold you for that. So
I mean, it's fine.
So to get started, guys, obviously you can see on the screen, I've got our boy Earthworm Jim, or whatever the fuck we want to call him, human Earthworm. We had the first episode after a long hiatus of Jujutsu Kaisen. So I'm very happy that we can get back into it, guys. But first things first, you know how I do things. I love to do a little bit of an icebreaker just to get the energy going. So I want to ask you guys one by one, who's your favorite character from the Shibuya incident and why, without giving too many spoilers. So Zhoniin, since you and me were just going back and forth, I want to give you the floor here. Tell me.
All right. So, do we see Sukuna in the intro? Pretty sure we do, right?
Definitely. And we also see him in the trailer that got released.
Okay, it's Sukuna.
Awesome. Okay, so Sukuna's your favorite character from the Shibuya incident. And what makes you most excited about that?
Well, yeah, not giving. That's why I asked if he was in the trailer or in the intro, because it's kind of letting you know that he's going to be in this arc. I mean, come on, you got to just assume that he is. And the stuff that he does is the most excited I was throughout this arc. And this arc's incredible. Like, now it's really getting a lot of recognition because the community's gotten so much bigger in the last 2 years. And people are like saying, you know, it might be one of the best ever already. And that might be true. And within that, yeah, I was definitely the most excited with Sukuna's sequence. So, yeah.
Okay, fair. I have nothing to say against that. Quirkless, what's your favorite character and why?
Yuji Itadori by far, because I think in Shibuya, this is really what sets him up for the rest of the series, especially with just how his general disposition is, especially going into the next arc. And even now we see just the impact of what happens in this arc, obviously without spoiling anything. It's really just where his character comes into his own, in my opinion.
Okay, cool. So it's funny that you guys have like two sides of the same coin as like your favorite characters, and we both know obviously that whatever happens with those two characters is going to be somewhat intertwined. If I had to say like the character that I'm most excited for in the Shibuya incident of all, it's my boy Mahito. You know, there was something that awakened in me, I think, with just seeing him in the opening and seeing him again. Like, I fucking love him as a character. I recently did like a collab video earlier of Mahito versus everyone, and just editing that video and talking about him versus every character in the series. Like, everything Mahito does is crazy. Me and him are apparently the same personality type. Maybe that has something to do with it. I love Mahito as a character. He's one of my favorite people. So I'm excited to see everything to do with him in the Shibuya incident. And once again, with it being Mahito, we know that it's going to have something to possibly do with Itadori and Sukuna possibly. So I love that all three of us, even without coming prepared, we didn't call each other before this. We somehow all have a similar answer that has to do with each other. Like, do you guys, like, as far as it goes, like, I know we can't get too much into spoilers, which kind of makes it hard, but like, what do you think, just based off of what we've seen so far, like the dynamic between Yuji, Mahito, like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, that's one of my favorite dynamics and like rivalries almost in the series. I'd love to get some sound bites from you guys. Like, Zhoniin, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I think it's a great first rivalry for Yuji, and you don't really realize how important it is, I guess, until you look back on it. You could say that with a lot of things, but just considering how much the series changes after this, it's like almost like a completely like it's almost like Shippuden to Naruto, the difference with the cast and the dynamic and the level that everything's at. So now that we're going to like relive that in Shibuya here, and just seeing Mahito on like the screen again, it's like I haven't seen him in so long. I have a newfound appreciation for his character and his rivalry with Yuji and how everything goes in this arc.
No, I love that you literally said like it's kind of like part one Naruto and then going into Shippuden, because lately I've like realized that like a lot of the stories that I enjoy almost have like just full on different segments of them. Like, you can look into like you can jump into season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and obviously once the season is over you'll be able to jump into season 2 and just see the stark difference. Like, after season 2 and everything after that, like just season 2 and Shibuya, everything that happens in Shibuya leaves such a huge mark on the world of Jujutsu Kaisen that nothing is ever the same after it. So like, I love stories like that where like there's literally so much of a change that you can literally look at it and tell what era of the story you're in just by certain key features of certain characters being in the fold, or just how certain characters look, not to give into any spoilers. So that's part of the thing that I love about stories that I've realized, and Jujutsu Kaisen is a series that does that a lot. Quirkless, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, when it comes to Mahito especially, I think Mahito as a first villain for Yuji, he really brings up the major questions in the story that we still haven't had answered yet. Like, what is the soul? What is the difference between the body and the soul? And what does it mean to be a sorcerer? And I've always liked the dynamic between Yuji and Nanami and Mahito in like the first 15 chapters, 20 chapters. And once you get out of Shibuya and we go into the next arc, without spoiling anything, obviously, you really see that the questions brought up by Mahito, they're probably going to become some of the most important bits in the entire story. So I think Gege did a really good job setting them up.
Yeah, definitely. I think Mahito is an absolute amazing villain. I think Gege, like you said, definitely did a great job concocting him and creating him. But to get into the episode now, it's like that. We got the entire chapter, actually a little bit extended. I'm not sure if you guys were aware of a little bit of the controversy that I had, but I basically said that I didn't like that they were going to extend It's Like That. I know that was a very unpopular opinion. What did you guys think about them taking It's Like That and just giving it a little bit more time to flesh it out and give the characters a lot more spotlight? Because obviously this is going to be the last happy moment we see between the trio and the main cast. So were you guys happy with the decision they made, Quirkless?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the extension of the character events?
The extension of It's Like that one chapter.
I think that's... I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that's a good moment in the story in general to give us an idea of who Yuji is. Because Yuji has always been a good guy, and even then, a lot of people really like that scene, in the same way we saw Urahime's scene be expanded upon in the first episode of the season. I think having these added moments, especially when we get like 20 plus episodes, I like it personally. I guess it depends on what you want to see though.
Yeah, very true, very true. Zhoniin?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not, because as you know, as mentioned, this is I guess the last time you're gonna have a they're going to have a chance to do something like this, right? Just to have some levity involved in this, because after this, I guess it's just full steam ahead. So if they could have just a half an episode of slice of lifey stuff, and I guess some like fan service a little bit to a certain demo that watches anime with Yuji's, taste in women and the flashback and when he's in the class. But yeah, it's fine. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, so my whole thing, and this was my opinion. I know, like I said, I got cooked for this, for saying this, but basically, what my opinion is that they had 3 weeks. They had 2 recap episodes. They had one recap episode where they recapped the movie and season 2 that we just saw, or the 5 episodes of season 2 that we just saw, and then they had another recap episode where they recapped all of season 1. They couldn't have put it's like that in either of those 2 recap episodes, just that way we could have focused directly on episode 6 as Mechamaru versus Mahito. Or am I crazy for thinking that? You guys can feel free to hop in at any time.
Yeah, I don't think you're crazy for thinking that. I kind of agree with Zhoniin in the sense that maybe the school flashback was a little much for some people.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I'm glad that we had the time. I'm never someone that's gonna, well, I guess I did complain, but I'm never someone that's gonna say, like, we don't need more characterization. I love spending time with these characters because I love these characters. But I don't know. I feel like when we had 2 recap episodes, we could have put it, like, at the beginning of, or tail end of the recap episode or something like that. But that's just me. I did enjoy the way that the episode went, and like you guys said, giving a time for the characters to branch out. Zhoniin did mention it is like the last time, and give us some kind of ground to stand on with these characters before everything goes to shit. And yeah, the school flashback was they definitely took a lot of time with that, but I felt like it's definitely a good characterization for Itadori. I can see why a lot of people liked it. I can definitely see that. It does feel good to be back with the main cast, though, right?
Oh, definitely.
110%.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like, when they like show up and we get to see them just talking to each other, and how Nobara like says to Megumi that, are you just drinking black coffee to like impress us? And it's like, I didn't think that was a thing, but then also it totally makes sense that he would be drinking black coffee anyway. I don't know.
Black coffee.
Just that, him coming back and you just like, hey, haven't seen these guys in a while.
I love how like Nobara just like sets that whole shit up. Like, she literally Megumi's like, all right, I'm going home, bye. And then she doesn't call Megumi, she calls Ijishi, and she's like, hey, can you bring Megumi to the restaurant that I just sent you? And then he gets there, he goes, why did you do this? He's like, I was trying to go home. And then like, yeah, like he drinks black coffee. Like, it makes sense. Like, yeah, they all have like their direct personalities, and you can tell even in the small character moments that like Gege really put a lot of love and care into making these characters like fully fleshed out human beings. It's one of my favorite things about the series.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying, because so much of this series is like battle and being involved in some kind of mission or something. So, he's trying with these sequences.
I don't know what the hate for black coffee is. I mean, it's just a drink.
I'm not a coffee drinker myself. I really have I really am not allowed to have an opinion.
Well, I mean, maybe it's supposed to be like a younger opinion on this. I mean, I like it. I like straight black cold brew. I think that's great.
My goodness gracious. Okay. Fair enough. Like I said, I don't like coffee at all, so I can't even weigh in. Even whether you have it straight black with nothing in it, or you have it with like the sweetest, like French vanilla, whatever. Like I'm just not a coffee person, so I'm not allowed to weigh in on this.
I'm a pot a day guy.
What'd you say?
I'm like a black pot a day guy for coffee.
I get my caffeine. Me and Zhoniin were just talking about it before. I get my caffeine from Gamer Subs. I get powdered caffeine. I throw it in water. I'm a degenerate.
That's cheating. Gamer Subs is so much better than coffee.
That's it. That's the only way I can handle it. I'm sorry.
It has like that nootropic stuff in it, so like you feel like better and like focused.
It's great. It's like whatever I'm feeling, like I try not to abuse it or use it. Obviously, abuse it. Like that's kind of crazy to say, but like I try not to use it a lot, like every day. What'd you say?
I said I'm snorting it.
Because like you're not supposed to surpass like 400 milligrams. I'm pretty sure that's like the healthy like amount of caffeine the human body can only handle. Allegedly, yeah. I literally like went to Reddit and apparently people are like 500 to 600 is okay, but I guess that's kind of a personal preference there. Speaking of the limits of the human body, I saw a lot of people theorize this on Twitter, and I wanted to get your guys' opinions because I thought it was interesting. Because obviously, you know, it's like it's a real nice character moment, very wholesome, very slice of life. There might not be so much to talk about there, but there is a lot to talk about with that small little scene we got extended of the movie that Yuji talked about, Human Earthworm Jim. Or Human Earthworm, I don't know where Jim keeps coming from. Human Earthworm 4.
It's a video game.
Yeah. And I saw a lot of people talking about how like that's kind of like theorizing Yuji's origin story, or like kind of like hinting at Kenjaku, or like something, some kind of experiment. Like I just want to kind of throw that out there and see what you guys have to possibly say about it. Like, does that stimulate any brain matter for either of you two?
It does remind me of the Kenjaku experiments a bit, but beyond that, I thought it was kind of a gross out moment with the worm guy.
the worm getting hit and then the baby worms coming out. I thought it was very funny.
That was something.
No, that was the music coming in. That was a legitimately funny sequence, but I was thinking that too as soon as I saw it, because the Earthworm character looks like a character that we're going to meet in season 3. And I was like, wait, is this supposed to mean something? And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, no, wait, this is like only for the anime. There's like no way Gege went out of his way to like give insight into like the backstory of the series through this. Like, would he really do that? I don't think he cares that much.
I think he cares just that much.
Well, then that would be fascinating. And then it's like, whose story is this? If it is a thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know, like I didn't even think about that. It didn't register in my brain until I saw it and I saw the people talking about it, and I was like, huh. So then I looked at it in a different light, and I don't know. It could mean a lot of different things. I just thought that was a really interesting aspect, or a really interesting way to view that kind of quick little quirky story.
Yeah, quirky.
That's the word, he says. Oh, wow, look at that. Now, so moving on. So it's like that, very nice, very wholesome. I guess I'm in the minority here where I don't think it was really necessary, but moving on to Mechamaru being the traitor. And as per usual, I always like to focus on the philosophical aspect of things and the what ifs and just getting really deep into the characters. And we know Mechamaru being the traitor, Mechamaru was kind of like a double/triple agent. He only betrayed to get a selfish desire out of it, and then he was going to immediately betray the bad guys as well. But do you think that's really moral? Like, Zhoniin, do you think, like, think about it if you were on Jujutsu High's side and Mechamaru was like, hey, I completely betrayed you guys and was giving information and data on you guys to all of our enemies, but look, man, I've been crippled my whole life. I was born with glass bones and paper skin, and I want to be able to be a real boy and have a human body. Like, is that something you could morally look on and be like, you know what? I forgive you. Or like, would you be like, nah, dude, you're a rat?
Both.
You have to decide.
Nah, I mean, then I'd have to pick he's a rat then. Because he is. Like, that could... I don't think anybody died, right?
I
From
mean,
the results of his actions.
I mean, in the beginning, because part of the vow, it seems, was him claiming that they weren't, when they interrupted the Goodwill Exchange event, they weren't allowed to harm anyone in the Kyoto school. But that basically also means he didn't give two fucks about what happened to Tokyo school either. You know what I mean? Like, his only requirements were that they didn't harm Kyoto school. And technically speaking, he said they didn't even honor that because Hanami did it. And that was also there. I was like, he was like, oh, that wasn't us. So you can't really hold us accountable for that.
Yeah, he's a rat for sure. And there's no way you can do that and then like come back. Even though like there's another series where that happens. In My Hero, I won't say who it is, but they just accept them back. So I don't think they would do that in Jujutsu Kaisen. And just I personally, no, you can't allow that.
The higher ups want to execute people for less. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. It's so true. It's so true. Like, I don't know. I think it's definitely a very selfish desire. Like, it's not even something that, like, all Mechamaru was planning to do was to give them information on the Shibuya incident, right? It's not even like he had some, like, underlying, like, this is their weakness, this is the way you can beat them kind of data that he gained from having that partnership. He literally was just gonna tell them information that he could have told them from day one that he became a mole. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can't really. I'm kind of with you, Zhoniin, where I can't really give him sympathy. I think him trying to get a normal body, while I can sympathize with the sense like, dude, yeah, his body's completely fucked. He could never be a real person, to the point where Mechamaru is like, I don't even want to be a Jujutsu sorcerer at this point. I'd rather just be normal. Like, I don't even want my heavenly pact that makes me so strong I can have puppets all over the nation. Like, I could care less about that. I get that. I feel for that. But, like, for you to sell out your friends just so you could get a normal body and then try to run back and be like, guys, I still want to be friends. I'm not down with that. I know some people are able to, would be willing to forgive that, but I don't know about that. Quirkless, what's your not justification? What's your judgment? Yes or no?
Straight to Jujutsu jail. Just like right in that room they put Yuji in forever.
Yeah, registered as a special grade and put in the cell like Yaga. You're done. His curse technique is really like, it is really built perfectly to, what's the word I'm looking for? To spy and be a traitor. It's really interesting how they use that to pick him out, but it makes so much sense, the kind of logic they use. They're like, he's literally the only one. Like, all it takes is for him to have an unregistered puppet. And Yuji's like, oh, well, I would have noticed the puppet, like, wandering around watching me. Like, the way that his brain works is so funny. But like the fact that he could have puppets in like the size of a fly, which we kind of not really a spoiler, we do kind of see later on in the arc, that he definitely has the capability of having like really small puppets that he can transmit data through. So no way to redeem him, right? So we're in agreement. There's no way to redeem Mechamaru. He's an asshole.
Oh, no way.
Okay, bet. All right, that's good to know. Good to know. And we did kind of already talk about it a little bit in the icebreaker about Mahito coming back, but obviously in the scene, Mahito and Kenjaku come back. And we get just kind of a return to form for the villains, and we get the tone set for basically the beginning of Shibuya, because the evening festival is basically like the starting point, right? It's the first blood. It's basically the beginning of everything. Just like after this long waiting, and even after almost a year of waiting, and even after the 5 episodes we didn't even see Mahito. I mean, how does it feel to be back with the villains? Do any of you guys have any sound bites or thoughts like on that?
It's good to see Kenjaku again because he's one of my favorites personally. It is kind of weird seeing him with Geto now again. I mean, I've been reading him in the manga for so long that seeing him talk like, you know, in anime, just a little shocking to me, I guess. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
no.
was thinking the same thing.
Oh, go ahead, Zhoniin.
No, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is that Geto's voice? I guess it would have to be, right? Because he's inhabiting his body. It wouldn't like give them a different voice. But yeah, it was cool seeing him because, you know, we've been following the manga for so long, and then, you know, seeing Mahito again, same thing. So
Yeah, no.
also,
Go ahead.
can we talk about they call it a pact on Crunchyroll, but the binding vow that they make with Mechamaru?
Yeah, I would love to.
So, you know, they make it and they have to like transfigure him. They can't kill him because then that would break it. And Kenjaku's like, you know, we don't know what would happen if you break a binding vow with somebody else. And that's a good question. Like, what would happen?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that they say like and it's not even like something happens right away, right? That they kind of imply. It seems like it's something that can happen at any point in time. You can just be dealt a bad misfortune.
I've always wondered if, well, at some point in the series, I expect we're going to see a binding vow broken like that because that's just something totally unexpected. Like anybody who makes a binding vow with another is just not going to see somebody ever breaking it. And what actually happens after, that's a pretty big point in the story. And I think we have some hints that someone like Sukuna or Kenjaku, they might have already done something like that. That's been a pretty big theory for a while.
Yeah. Zhoniin, do you have anything to add?
I just want to see a binding vow broken.
Yeah, it is interesting that it's something that even Kenjaku is feared of. And like Quirkless was even saying too. So like it's definitely something that is absolutely insane. But who knows? It could be it really it's something that we haven't even seen, not to spoil anything, but it's something that it's not even something that we've seen yet in the manga. Because it's something that's so carefully handled between sorcerers that are aware of making it. And I imagine that we haven't even really seen that many binding vows between too many sorcerers. We do know there's two characters that have a binding vow between each other that we haven't even found out what it is yet. And because it's between the two characters, I know it's got to be a very interesting binding vow. So
You turn into a worm.
Oh shit, that's what it is.
It's all coming together. It's all coming together. Yeah. But so moving on here, we're gonna move right into the beginning, at least, of Mahito versus Mechamaru, which is one of my favorite fights in the entire series. I absolutely love it. They did extend at least a little bit of the beginning here, which I love because all of those puppets coming from Mechamaru, I mean, you got to give a little bit more love to him having like 10, 20 summoned puppets. So like, do any of you guys have any thoughts to add about the fight or anything that you wanted to throw in there? Because I thought they did a great job of opening everything up and building up the hype for what apparently is going to be one long episode of just hands and smoke.
I like the mech. I didn't really like the little puppets because I've seen what those puppets are capable of.
He said they're panda level, not important, not even impressive. Zhoniin.
Yeah.
Or quicker, so you can finish that thought. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, if they were more powerful, this would be way cooler because it is pretty threatening. Like once he has his full body that looks just like Aki for some reason, he, you know, is using all these puppets, kind of like Sasori from Naruto, And yeah, if they were more powerful, he would be super formidable. But yeah, just at the level they're at,
It's
I
worse
don't even
puppets.
know. Yeah.
No, Ultimate Mechamaru, it's really cool seeing that live and animated and just like in the flesh. And like the way that they did his cockpit where like he's kind of like suspended in just like that data like chamber, like I don't know, it looks super dope. I think I love the way that they animated it and made everything go out. And Mahito, like you guys said, is just a beast. The way that I feel like they really hit the nail on the head. I'm excited to see the way that they expand on the rest of the fight going forward. Because like I said, it is literally one of my favorite fights. I don't know if you guys caught it, but like one cool thing that I really like about this fight is because Mechamaru basically like put everyone away and threw everyone away to kind of go about things selfishly in his own desires. They take away communication from him. And then the whole point of the fight is him trying to reach out to his friends after he shut them away. I think it's like a really cool like little aspect and a way to like view the fight.
Yeah, you gotta be Toji to do that effectively, though. Not feel like the bad heavenly restriction like Mechamaru did.
The tech that he has is insane.
Yeah, what the year-long cursed energy, or
Well, I mean,
just the mech in general, the big O.
Yeah. Yeah, the mech that he has, the cockpit, the technology, this is like way more advanced than anything we've ever seen in the series. Like, little bit of a spoiler, but we do see like what the nation's militaries are capable of later on, and it's pretty realistic and like grounded. And this is like 100 years into the future technology. Like, what? How does he have this?
You have such a good point. And like even Mahito like says it. He's like, well, I can see that you being a shut-in wasn't for nothing. Like clearly you were busy.
I'm just saying, when they say they have the veil down and he can't get any communications out, he should have wrote Gojo like a note or something.
A note in a bottle.
Like mail him something. I mean, how long did he have? Like a week at least.
Email.
He could have timed with the postal service for him to get it exactly after he got the body back. They wouldn't have even known. What is Kanjaku got? Shooters in the postal service? I think not.
Yeah, dude. He's got a curse spear in every post office.
That's what I mean. I mean, like, I feel like definitely could have got away with some shit like that. Like or like, Mechamaru doesn't have a phone? Or like anyway, like he couldn't send a ping out as soon as he got his body back. I don't know.
I think we have actual phones more useful than some of his mechs.
I'm one of the people that believe like he should have tried his hand at running away. Why did he try and fight both of them? Because he even says, right, he's like, even if I take out Mahito, I've still got to take out Geto because he's the one that casted the veil in the first place.
Yeah, good luck with that, Mechamaru.
Yeah, what? I don't really know what his plan was. Like, he should have escaped, and Mahito was like, oh, I didn't want to go on a hunt, but I'll hunt him down. But, like, I don't know. I feel like Mechamaru should have ran away. That was his better chance if he really wanted to go away, but he wanted to settle the score.
Well, I mean, he could have gotten away. That's why he didn't. Like, if he just, I don't know, boosted away like Iron Man or something, which I'm sure he's capable of, there's no way they could have kept up with him.
I think he would have been okay if he used, like, instead of this giant mech, he had the big drill machine that the Underminer had in The Incredibles.
All right. And then obviously the fight ends off with the 1 year charge. Mahito Mechamaru has been basically just charging cursed energy for all of his years of life. Apparently since he was a little baby, he's been saving up all that energy. And that's what he plans to use against Mahito to fight against him. And then apparently after he takes on Mahito, his plan is to take on Geto and end the veil. Yeah. We'll see how that goes next episode. But we definitely got a lot of time left, and what I want to do here is I definitely want to talk about the opening, because the OP was some of the greatest. I love the OP. I thought it was one of the greatest I've seen so far this year, so I want to get into that. But do any of you guys have any closing thoughts on the episode? Obviously, we only adapted 2 chapters to start on the season, so might not be much to talk about. But if any of you guys have anything else you want to add, floor is definitely open.
I think the animation looks great, and I think some of the saturation is coming back too. I mean, that's just my eyes playing tricks on me. But this episode felt a lot more colorful, especially with the mech.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I definitely see where you're coming from with that. Even like, I even have a note here, like even like the pinball sequence in the beginning, ping pong sequence that they did with Toto and Mei was like absolutely ridiculously animated.
Yeah, I agree. Although I haven't seen an episode in a couple weeks, but it did look more colorful to me too. Like in the diner, other things like that too.
Maybe they were trying to keep it a little more washed out in the hidden inventory to give it the flashback vibe.
Yeah, that could be it.
Could be a style thing too. It seems like they might be going for like a different vibe for Shibuya, because I saw a lot of people even mention like blue was the focus of the OP for last half of the season, and then red is the main focus of the OP for this season. So maybe they are going for a much more colorful, like you said, more saturated, maybe more contrast is the word, maybe.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah. Zhoniin, do you have anything to add? Closing thoughts on the episode.
No, we could talk about the intro. I liked it too.
Yeah, because like I said, this episode's kind of really mostly set up. It, like I said, unfortunately, I was hoping the way that I thought things were going to go down is I thought they were going to breeze through It's Like That if they did include it in the episode. And then we were just going to get mostly 3/4, most of the episode dedicated to Mahito versus Mechamaru. But apparently they're just going to give it the love it deserves, which I can't really complain about. So we're going to get right to the opening. And the opening, in my opinion, was great. I love the usage of red, the visuals, and I think the song really grew on me. And I really don't think it deserves as much hate as it's getting. But before we really dive deep, do any of you guys have any really introductory thoughts, or just want to give your brief feelings on it? Quirkless.
I love the opening. This is my favorite opening since like the first one, personally. I like it for different reasons. It's not really as upbeat as a lot of the other openings were, but Shibuya also isn't that upbeat of an arc, so I think it fits it really well. I love the artwork, and I love, the wheel.
Yeah. Zhoniin.
Yeah, I agree. This is my favorite opening since the first one. Like it's great. I didn't even know there was backlash against it, to be honest. I'm kind of surprised.
I think the only backlash against it was mostly the song. I feel like no one could really deny the visuals of the opening were peak, but I feel like mostly a lot of people's issues were with specials and King New.
I like the song. I think it's good.
Yeah, I like the song a lot too.
I like the song too. I like that anime openings are getting a lot more of these alternative, like different styled music for the OPs, as opposed to like it no offense to like the kind of somewhat generic like happy rock anime opening that we got for the last half of the season.
Happy rock.
It's just like, you know what I mean? Like that, but you know what? I feel like it fit because it was like kind of like a flashback school days arc. You know what I mean? Or at least that's what they wanted to portray it as. But
no, I feel like just happy rock just sounds funny as a genre.
It exists, man. I'm telling you. But yeah, no, I also love the opening. One of the major things that I loved about the opening, again, before we get very deep into it, was the way that they foreshadowed things and showed a lot without actually telling a lot. There was not really like, as an anime only, seeing a lot of these shots without any context, you're not gonna have any idea how spoilery it is. But as people like us that have read the manga, we can literally like, we can be like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme, like when we're sitting in the chair and we're like, wait, oh, because that's what this entire opening is full of. Like, I'm sure you guys noticed it as well.
It's an if you know kind of opening. There's a lot packed into it.
So much.
Yeah, it was very tastefully done, with the regard of not spoiling, but showing like a lot. Like usually, well, not usually. I don't know how typical it is, but I've seen a lot of anime intros where they just straight up show you what's going to happen. It's not subtle. If this, very subtle, but still showing. Pretty cool. I like it.
Like, for example, like season 1 OP2, I feel like is a perfect example of what you're talking about, Zhoniin, where they kind of just basically show you like the main climax of the entire arc, of the kind of exchange event arc with like Yuji and Todo fighting Hanami. And like you can go into that like being like, all right, we're getting a tournament arc, and then you watch the opening and you're like, oh, the villains are going to interrupt the tournament arc. Like it kind of completely ruins it. Whereas in this one, like Quirkless said, and we're kind of all in agreement of, like, they showed so much, and like realistically the only people that are going to be able to tell what it is are people that already know what it is. Like, for example, my favorite section of the opening, and I'm sure it's probably your guys's too, is the hand sign segment that we get for everyone's domains or their curse techniques. Like, it's such an awesome moment where even they show Dagon's domain, they show obviously we've seen Mahito's domain, they show Choso's piercing blood, and they show what am I forgetting here?
Infinite Void.
Not Unlimited Void. Oh, they show Maharaga. It was, for some reason it was slipping me. I'm trying to forget Maharaga. But yeah, they show even that as well, without going into what Maharaga is. But like they show so much in the hand sign scene where it's like, if you're anime only, you're like, oh, that's cool, I wonder what that is. Even the album cover, but for the single, I don't know if you guys have seen that. Have you?
Yeah. It looks pretty cool.
They have so many small little like tidbits, like Maharaga's wheel and Jogo's head and like Unlimited Void, the prison realm. They have so many different things in there.
Yeah, the wheel is one of those things. It's like, it's one of the most important things in the entire series, and if you just tell somebody that, they're gonna be like, what?
So, like, just to go like piece by piece here, I have the opening up here just because I really want to go in and dissect the opening one by one, because it's legitimately, I think they did such a great job with it. Like, first of all, I think the red tone of everything is just such a perfect vibe. Not even just because of what I said before, where it contrasts the blue of hidden inventory, but like it just sets the dark tone of like, all right, this is an entire season of just smoke, and just hands and just people going back and forth and just honestly just chaos. I think the entire vibe of the opening was perfect, and I think they hit the nail on the head. And I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on that while I'm pulling up the opening on my side monitor here. No?
I think
Okay,
Shibuya is just one of those. Sorry.
No,
I think
you're
I think Shibuya is one of those arcs that's so popular that a lot of people who are even anime onlys know a lot of the events in it anyways. So it's pretty interesting to see, just to see how they're going to set up the openings, set up the rest of the arc, because this is probably the last calm we really get. Maybe next episode will be calm, or I should say the episode after next episode. But after that, it's pretty much just full steam.
Yeah, I mean, even then, I feel like after this, because like after we get the evening festival, I feel like even right after that, I feel like it immediately kicks off. Like, I feel like that's why I feel like they did spend so much time on It's Like That, because they were like, all right, this is gonna be the last lull of the entire season, so we might as well savor it. Trying to see if I can get this pulled up on the screen for chat here. But either way, I'm gonna start getting into it while I'm waiting to pull this up. The opening starts off with everyone, even the villains, kind of all walking down this direct line, and I'm not sure if it's implying that that Gojo and Geto are either at the front or they're one of the last ones, but it seems like everyone's kind of all being led to this place. They're all being led down this path to Shibuya. And from what we know kind of in the future of everything and the way that the series kind of goes, I feel like it's kind of a direct symbolism to how this is all just kind of a masterminded plan. And even not even spoiling too much, we know it's been a masterminded plan. It's been Geto's and the Disaster Curse's plan this entire season 1 to get to October 31st, to get to this one big moment. So it's crazy to me that the Shibuya incident would show it that way, just so directly and outright, that this is just kind of one big puppet show. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
I think Shibuya is just, the pacing is excellent throughout the entire arc, and the way, if you know what Shibuya Station is, you know, it's a train station. So you have like a multi-layer, you have a quite literally layered arc where you have the different levels of the train station, you know, where all the characters are at, and it's just so expertly done. I still think it's the best arc in the entire series, personally.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite. Zhoniin?
No, yeah, so far it is. I don't know if the Culling games, when it's all said and done, will be like considered one long arc, but Shibuya is definitely the best. Like I was saying earlier, it's definitely getting way more recognition now than what I saw it getting before.
Yeah, it all kind of just leads into the Culling arc, and that's kind of how I feel like the opening shot really is, like Gojo and Geto here, like as like the heads of kind of everything leading everyone down this path. It's kind of like, then we kind of get more symbolism here with the prison realm and Mahito's metamorphosis, which I feel like we can kind of get into spoilers a little bit for the OP analysis here, because that's just the best way to do it. Like they're like, and this kind of goes into like us, like them spoiling without even showing it. Like this, for all people know, like this is like a bat just trying to get out of its wings, right? But like we as manga readers know like what's like hidden behind it. And like then we get into prison realm. We get a shot of like literally everyone that's basically in the series, and the shot of Mahito and the cursed realm. And I saw the shot here of like Yuji in front of all these like doors, and I had no idea what was going on. But then I had someone explain it to me, and I wasn't sure if any of you guys caught the reference of Yuji kind of like upset in front of all of these boxes. You guys know what I'm talking about here? I have it on screen.
I assume there was something behind this, but I'm curious.
Zhoniin, did you know, or do you want me to go into it?
Trying to. Yeah. What does it mean?
So like I actually apparently those are like they have something to do with funerals, and like they have something to do with where people keep where in Japan where people keep their ashes of their loved ones. So it's basically like Yuji like having all of these lives or these dead people placed in front of him. And kind of like we see him, he's kind of gripping his head and getting upset, and that's kind of like a call, and that's kind of even a more spoiler call into what happens later in the arc as well.
That's cool.
It's like kind of crazy how like they do like small things like that in the opening. Like you see like the fingers get pulled out, and then you just see this thing, and Yuji, like I said, like you just think it's Yuji upset about Sukuna, but if you look more into it and you know about the reference that they're making and you read the manga, you know it's more Yuji's upset about much more than Sukuna. This arc is definitely a traumatizing arc for Itadori in general. That's one of the main reasons people like it so much.
You know,
like
it's interesting.
Quirkless.
I can't remember if it was in the anime only, but one of the first times we see Yuji, he's bottling his grandfather's ashes. So that's for the first body he puts, in front of him. So I think it's kind of an interesting callback if these are funeral ashes. I can't remember exactly if that was anime only. I think it was. I think he gave him the finger on a bench in the manga.
It might have been. It might have been anime only for sure. And then as far as it goes, then we get this quick shot. And I kind of like this too. It was like drawn in like this old school traditional artwork, like if it was drawn on like the wall of like the disaster curses, Dagon and Jogo, and then it moves to Hanami and Mahito in like that Japanese traditional style artwork. I thought that was a really cool it was just like random little put into the visuals as well. We get Todo, Ultimate Mechamaru. For some reason, we get this clip of Miwa. And do any of you guys have any kind of thoughts as to why the anime loves Miwa so much to not just put her in the trailer, but to put her in the opening as well, when she has like 10 seconds of screen time?
If Panda gets to be in the opening, Miwa gets to be in the opening.
Panda's like the mascot. I guess Miwa kind of is too, but...
Miwa is just like, the mascot for fodder.
I just thought that was so funny. Like they gave her her little shining moment in the trailer, and now they're even putting her in the opening. I'm like, damn, whoever like directs the whoever has like the director spot in Mappa loves Miwa. You can tell. Do you guys think go ahead.
She seems to be a fan favorite despite having limited screen time.
Yeah, apparently to start an entire cult around it with with other people thinking that she's gonna actually like do a big moment in the series and take out a major antagonist. Especially with Gege just like throwing in like her every once in a while, like foreshadowing stuff that may or may not ever have amount to anything. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. The question that I was going to pose to you guys that I thought was kind of interesting was if you guys, do you guys think like as directors of an anime, do you guys think like you're able to slip in your own agendas there, like little subtle hints? You're like, you know what, like you really like an anime and you become director of it at a studio and like you just kind of clasp your hands together, start rubbing them like, yes, here we go.
I would for sure ask the creator. Like I wouldn't just try to slip it in without getting permission. But I would definitely probably have a lot of things that I would say, hey, what if we just did this instead? Or what if this went like that? I'm sure everybody would, but if they said no, then I'd be like, okay, I respect it.
Quirkless, what do you think?
I'm kind of a zoning on this one, where it's like, I probably ask the creator as well.
You guys are good people. Do you think that happens often, or do you think that people are just like, I'm inserting the agenda?
It depends on the anime.
I was going to say, from what I've heard a few times on like movies or whatever, or even animes, that it's, not always up to the creator. I think in the last One Piece movie, Oda, the creator of One Piece, he didn't even have the final say on a lot of the creative decisions that they decided to go with. And I was surprised to hear that. I was like, okay, I can understand with somebody maybe newer or not as high profile, but Oda, he's like the GOAT.
Yeah, I guess it really comes down to how nice the studio making the product really wants to be, because I know like even with the new Bleach adaptation, like I'm pretty sure they're consulting Kubo for most of the most creative decisions. And I guess and also it comes down to most of the time when you're like selling a property or a license of a property like that, most of the time you are unfortunately giving those people full creative control. And at that point it is kind of in their ball court if they want to be nice and consult you or just do whatever they want.
It's true. I think there was something with, I don't quote me on this, in season 1 where Yuji's hair color was chosen by the studio, and then Gege confirmed it later in their own manga.
Yeah, like is it what is he so I've heard people bring that up in my comment section, and I've always been super confused about that. Is he supposed to be like blonde?
Yeah, I think he originally was. I'm not sure if that actually has validity, but that's what I've heard as well.
I know that
Wow.
Gege's colors are always messed up because he is colorblind. I know that. Zhoniin?
Interesting. No,
Oh,
I never knew that.
I wasn't sure if you had something to add, but no, yeah, I'm pretty sure Gege is colorblind. So like, I'm pretty sure he drew Yuji with like the pink hair or like whatever he has, like somewhat on accident, like he didn't mean to, and I'm pretty sure that's what they ran with. And then he was like, wait, Gege was like, wait a minute, that's not it, or something to the effect of what Quirkless said.
Wow.
I think the hair color fits, so I'm kind of glad it's not blonde.
yeah. It's already iconic. You can't.
I completely
Get it
agree.
blonde,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess like it justifies clarification because everyone was kind of like, we know Miwa's hair is supposed to be something special or like supposed to mean something. It's like I guess he wanted to clarify like, hey, Yuji's supposed to have normal hair. There was just a miscommunication there. I don't know. But yeah, I've had people in my comment section be like, Yuji's supposed to be blonde, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Gege literally drew him with pink hair. But then when you find out like he's actually colorblind, you're kind of like, oh, I guess that makes sense.
I didn't know that Gege was colorblind. Surprised that completely evaded my radar.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't like doing colorings, because it's like hard for him to have like a consistent color base.
That's interesting. The more you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's also why like he unintentionally does like the same kind of color shaded volume covers. I don't know. That's kind of more speculation than anything, but like he definitely is colorblind. How did we even get on this topic? I feel like we really got off. There.
We're talking about the animation in the opening.
Oh yeah, we're talking about in creative directing and everything like that. Yeah. Because to get kind of back on the topic, yeah, it really just depends on the people that you're working with, I guess, because the whole Bleach anime got like 90% of the source material wrong, and like they just didn't give a fuck. Kubo was like, you guys are getting shit wrong, and they were like, yeah, we know, we don't care. Like they were like, we don't like Ichigo or Hime, we prefer Ichigo Rukia, we're gonna do the series more like that. Kubo was like, I know, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna do it anyway. Getsuga Tensho, like Kubo was like, Getsuga Tensho is supposed to be yellow, they were like, yeah, we're gonna make it blue. Like they just didn't care. So it really depends on, it really just depends on who you're working with, to be completely honest with you. Like it comes to where you have like anime creators like Kubo specifically, where they literally hate their anime adaptation because like it's completely so different from the source material, and they also changed a lot. Like they made characters different and like more comedic than what they were supposed to be. Like they completely changed like a lot of shit. He was like very unhappy with it. That's why this new one, he was like, I'm only gonna come back and do it if I have like full creative control.
It is interesting that that kind of goes back to how animes are in general now, where we get a lot more of a seasonal release, and it feels a lot more like an event now. When you have Mappa behind something and you get these giant, 24 episodes, so that's a big deal for something like Jujutsu Kaisen. When with Naruto or Bleach 10 years ago, that was like, oh, okay, they're just gonna pump them out every single week, even if it's filler.
Yeah, I completely agree. I much prefer the seasonal aspect of it. And I definitely think it generates a lot more hype than what they used to do with Naruto and Bleach, where they just run it all year round. And whenever they catch up to the manga, they just completely divert from the story and just start putting in the worst fucking content you've ever seen in your life. Like I started for a video I'm doing, I started rewatching the Bount arc of Bleach. And oh my god, I can't even, it's hard for me to even sit through some of those episodes, man. It's like, this is so like, just like the most fluffing to get through 24 minutes of airtime, like I'm purposely making all these characters stupid so plot lines take longer. It's just it's bad. I much prefer the we're gonna take 26 episodes, make it, and then we're gonna wait, let things build up, and then we'll come back to this in a year or so. Much prefer that.
Yeah, and to expand upon that a little bit, it kind of reminds me of like, my favorite show is Better Call Saul, personally, and a show like that, you don't really have a wasted scene, and I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen, especially the first season and now, maybe there is some added filler, but for the most part, it kind of feels like every single scene has a purpose. You don't really want to cut anything out. Everything is information, so I think that's just a good way of doing your TV.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, like almost to its detriment, Jujutsu Kaisen is so on point where it does its best to never waste a scene, like you said. Where Gege specifically keeps that pace where literally everything is advancing the story. And if something isn't advancing the story, then Gege is just frankly not gonna show it. And he'll just imply it through dialogue later, or we'll go back to a flashback in between stuff that is advancing the story. And that's just the way that and like I said, it's specifically the way that manga is kept now. Also, to an extent, I feel like that is kind of the way that Gege's pace is very similar to a lot of the way that other mangakas are basing their stories, because I feel like that's a detriment and a symptom of anime taking so long and making things go longer and filler. Like the classic meme, Goku versus Frieza was like 30-40 episodes. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's also like a lot of mangaka and creators now kind of have that in mind when they're creating stories, so they kind of get to the point.
I like a fusion of both, but getting to the point is better than more often not.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Cannot argue with that. I mean, just to finish the opening analysis, and then we'll get into Q&A here. After we get the Miwa slander, we get the awesome sequence of, Itadori changing into Sukuna. And then we get the breakdown, which is really cool because it doesn't spoil. This is where we kind of get into it. It doesn't spoil too much. We get Dagon throwing his water everywhere. And then right after that, we also get Yuji and Toto going against Mahito, which I love how they kind of did it to where, I mean, honestly, anime onlys won't even be able to figure out that is Dagon. And even Yuji and Mahito, the way that they did the OP, you can't even tell. You can't even tell it with no context what happens, or like what is going to happen. That could just be for the opening.
Oh, for sure.
They do a really good job of that. And then we get all the other characters, everything like that. Overall, we get the hand scene sign that we kind of already talked about. Overall, the OP was one of the best. Do you think it takes OP of the year, or is that saying too much, Zhoniin?
I haven't seen enough, but it's my favorite that I've seen so far.
Okay. I'll take that.
Also, you conveniently skipped over a thing in the intro. There's this guy upside down, and he's like falling.
Oh no.
Who's that?
This is what I mean. Like, the opening of everything is absolute. Like, they really did such a great job of showing and giving manga readers like us a way to just like find and enjoy content that we've already seen. So it's something that I absolutely love, and I love that, like we even kind of said in the very beginning of talking about the opening, they struck such a great balance of, if you know, you know, and I'm not outright spoiling the entire arc in the opening to the point where people literally feel the need to not even watch the opening anymore until the season's over. Isn't that crazy that that's the thing that people do now? So yeah, I completely agree with you, Zhoniin. That foreshadowing is just crazy.
I think it's the best opening I've seen all year. It's also the only opening I've seen all year.
Okay, so we'll say me and Quirkless are going with best opening of the year, and Zhoniin is saying he hasn't seen enough, so that basically means best opening of the year.
Yes.
So we can all agree. So I'm super excited to basically get into the next episode next week, because that is literally where everything begins. I don't feel like we're gonna get any slow moments. From this point on, it's gonna be absolute just hands and just craziness. So that being said, I want to get into the Q&A section. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us this entire time and reviewing the episode with us. Thank you to my guests. We're going to get into the Q&A section where you guys are able to ask me and the other two creators on this panel anything you've ever wanted to ask us at any point in time. I have a couple donations and questions in already that I'm going to go ahead and go over. So that being said, we'll go get started with that. And if any of you guys have any last minute questions you want to get in, feel free to go ahead and donate. And I'll be sure to get to you guys before the panel is over in about 20-30 minutes or so. First of all, Tiberius, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate that support. Void Dead, thank you for the $2. Said, watch all 3 of us. Have a great stream, guys. Thank you very much, Void Dead. Yeah, he said he watches all of us. What a good guy.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Craze, thank you so much. What's up, No-Op, Shinobi, and chat. And then he donates again because he forgot you, Zhoniin, so don't worry. I hope you're doing well. I'm super hyped for the Shibuya arc. The animation looks amazing too. Thank you for being a member for 4 months, and thank you for your donation after. Hey Zhoniin, I didn't realize you were on the stream when I made my first super chat. Hope you're doing well, my guy. I've been watching you for a long time. You're one of the reasons I even started reading JJK.
Wow. Hey, thank you for the giving No Operator the super chat and the shout out. I appreciate it.
I love how like some people are like, you know what? I don't even want to ask a question. I just want to send love.
Feels good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, everyone. So amongst all of the, you know what? Personally, I've been because of the kind of content I've been doing a lot of controversial stuff. I've been getting a lot of comments that just like are like, it's just like, God damn, man, you need a good one every once in a while. I'm sure you guys can.
Controversial.
I've just done a couple different like ranking and like power scaling videos. So that's always going to bring in some craziness. It's always nice to get a good comment after a while. So I'm happy for you. Med, thank you for the $2. Said, any chapter talk today? No, unfortunately not. But I guess if any of you guys want to give like a brief opinion on how things are going in the manga right now, like Zhoniin, do you have any opinions on what's going on in the manga without giving away too much?
It's at its peak.
It's at its peak. Quirkless?
Yeah, the next week's chapter will be the most popular chapter.
Okay.
In the history of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Do you think we're gonna go on break after next chapter?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's gonna be more than 1 week.
I hope not. I
Maybe.
mean, like, I'm surprised that that he's been gearing up for this long, because I figured we all kind of assumed he'd go into break this week. So he definitely is like gearing up for a big cliffhanger, I'm sure.
I think, yeah, there's a big plot twist coming. That's what I'm sensing on the winds.
Yeah, he's
But
definitely
without spoilers.
He's definitely been
Sorry,
trying to get to something. But no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Without spoilers, I think the last 4 chapters especially have had the best pacing of the entire ongoing fight.
I completely agree.
Yeah, once they stop doing the big stuff.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? Go ahead.
Once they stop doing the big stuff, the thing that they did 5 times.
Yeah, I know. It is good that we're finally moving on. It definitely, the last couple chapters have been the first couple chapters I've been excited to see some things happening after a while. So it's good to finally see that and have some of the hype restored into everything, especially when we were having a little bit of a lull. Craze, thank you so much for the donation. Hey, no options. We all know you love Mahito and he's your favorite character. Do a live reaction to the Mahito versus Yuji fight. Would love to see your reactions. Yo, that's going to be one of the greatest fights of all time. It's not really a question, but I guess I can get some kind of convo stimulated out of it. Like the Yuji versus Mahito fight, we can get into spoilers a little bit. Like, that's one of my favorite fights in the entire series. Like, how do you guys feel about it? And how excited are you guys to see Zhoniin?
You mean the one that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's top 3 in the series for sure.
Yeah, I'm with him on it being.
him?
I don't know if I put it in top 3 as like actual fight mechanics, but as far as thematic, yeah, definitely, probably top 2 for me personally.
That's crazy. It's actually like I would say it's definitely my top 1. Like, literally my favorite fight and everything. Like, I can't think of anything that comes close. That's actually, it's the anniversary of the first video I ever put on the first like regular video I ever put on my channel that wasn't a chapter review, and it was a Yuji vs Mahito video. I fucking love that shit. One of my favorite fights of all time. But moving on, Del Ravinson, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Yono Op, love you, Shinobi and Zhoniin. Mechamaru should have used the puppets while using the big suit against Mahito. Do you think that would have added, like, do you think that would have been the missing link to him fighting that, if he used not only just Ultimate Mechamaru, but used the puppets on top of that to, like, add pressure? Quirkless?
The puppets ain't it. That's all I'm saying. The puppets just ain't. I mean, imagine you get Heavenly Restriction and then you see Toji and you're like, I could have had that.
True. Zhoniin, do you have anything to say about Mechamaru switching it up, mixing it up?
Yeah, ideally he should have did that, but I guess they were all destroyed and he didn't have any left or whatever. I don't know. I just have so many questions about the technology still. Like, it's just way too advanced, way too powerful, and I would like to see it with somebody else. Like, could you imagine, like, I don't know, using Sukuna using some tech like that or something, and it uses him as a battery instead?
Plug Sukuna in. Oh, is he gonna plug himself into like the Naruto statue?
Yeah.
The ghetto statue. That's funny. I mean, it's interesting, like, of all the things that Gege uses to, like, give a huge scientific explanation for, like, how exactly a Mechamaru was able to create something like that in his basement using, I guess, what I would imagine is just scattered around parts that were just lying around his fucking basement room. Who knows? Where did he keep it?
He asked Mai to build him one part a day for years.
Because you know what's interesting is if his real body was always in that small little area that Utahime leads the Tokyo students to, where was he keeping the giant mech in there? Who moved Mechamaru? The puppets? Who didn't notice that he left in the silence of night?
It's a good point. I learned a lot of things in this episode, like the fact that they get salary increases when they get upgrades.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I also, something that I learned that was interesting, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, is that, did you know, like, Mei isn't even affiliated with the school? Like, she's basically like a hired mercenary. She just literally works for them because they pay her the highest bid. She's essentially a curse user. She's only registered because they pay her the most money, and she's like, yeah, okay, I'll get my license.
I mean, that's a pretty good reason. They should all be doing that, really.
Yeah, it is weird that other people prefer to be curse users as opposed to being registered sorcerers, but I don't know. to you. I mean, Toji thought that was the best decision. He was like, instead of getting a real job, I'm just gonna kill like one person a year. Probably a decent gig. Who knows? In Minecraft,
pays a lot more.
Probably does
Also,
pay a lot more.
The higher ups are super prejudiced, so I doubt they would have liked him. They don't like Maki.
Yeah, Toji had no chance. But it is interesting. Like even Gojo in the hidden inventory arc, he's like, oh, like, to the paper bag curse user. He's like, we've got open positions all year round. He goes, we're begging for help. He goes, and here you are, doing fucking work on the black market. Like it is weird. I wonder why there is a higher percentage of people that choose to just be free range. If Mei of all people is choosing to be registered because it pays more.
Probably does pay more. I mean, I guess you kind of have to have a moral obligation like Yuji or even Megami to some extent. To really want to become characters like Nanami, Yuji, Megami. We see a lot of time that these guys, they're pulled back into it due to moral obligation, not for any other reason. They don't really like the job.
Yeah, well, I imagine it's not I imagine it's not really sought out for. Probably. I imagine there's not like a kid in elementary school being like, I can't wait to be a Jujutsu sorcerer when I grow up.
Maybe Novara.
Maybe. And realistically, she literally only did it just so she could get out of her fucking country town.
I feel that.
She literally is the epitome of like, I'll do anything to get out of this fucking place. All right. So cool. I like how we were able to get a decent soundbite out of that one. Bryce, thank you so much for the $5. I might have agreed within the binding vow that he would not tell sorcerers about their plans, and I guess this is talking about Mechamaru's traitorous plot. I just think that Mechamaru is a snake. If he's basically saying that the binding vow might have included him not revealing the Shibuya plans earlier than he had to, but no, I just feel like he didn't even want to. He was like, you know what, I'm playing my own game right now. Selfishness on the mind.
Yeah, it was definitely selfish. I mean, I don't think he was totally malicious, but the main thing he wanted was his body.
Yeah. And then Tiberius, thank you so much for the $10. Couldn't Kokichi focus a big blast at the veil to break it and alert people in the beginning? Geto mentions he has a temporary level of special grade cursed energy. What do you guys think?
Yeah. He should have did that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point, to be honest.
I feel like we kind of talked about it a little bit already, where we were like, there's so many different ways that Mechamaru could have done things that probably would have been a much better way for him to go about it than the way he did it.
The weird part for me is that, he says he wants Gojo there, but I'm like, why did you just set yourself up to fail then, if that was your end goal?
Yeah, like I said, I he could have literally just postmarked it. I don't know if we said this when we were off air or on air, but like there's so many different ways that like Mechamaru could have had Gojo figure this out. Like we live in a world of technological advances. Cell phones are alive. This man's got puppets literally everywhere. He could have planted, if he had puppets the size of a fly or a mosquito, couldn't he have like planted a puppet on Gojo that only activated after he got his real body back? I don't know. Mechamaru was stupid.
Especially when Gojo can probably see it with 6 eyes. If that's cursed energy in it.
Foolish. And then last dono we got here is from Amina Sajamek. Thank you all so much for the support. I sincerely appreciate every single one of you guys. And the question is Naobito the sexiest gilf ever in Jujutsu Kaisen? And I don't know if we want to justify that with a response. What about you, Quirkless? How do you feel about Naobito, and what's your attraction level to him?
He's him.
Okay. 10. Give me a 10 out of 10 scale.
Dude, why do we have to put on numbers on something like that?
Damn, it's above the 10 out of 10. Okay. Zhoniin?
I was thinking like, gilfs, the grandfathers in Jujutsu Kaisen. There's not a lot, right? So I guess now Beto is number one.
Yeah, what do you got? Naobito or Yuji's grandpa?
Or
Solid
Maki's
choice.
father.
Solid. Oh yeah, Ogi. Ooh, great selection we got over here. But yeah, okay, so there's your answer. I guess we're
old man Kashimo.
oh true.
Yeah, he's number one.
Well, by anime only process of elimination, I would have to say, I guess that Naobito would, I guess be. Oh well, you know what? You got Gaku Kanji. Look at that!
Oh, yeah.
Look
Yeah,
at that!
he ain't
Top
on the
head.
list.
Nah, he's on it.
Not my list.
That man plays guitar. What else can those fingers do? You got to ask yourself that question. All right, that was just me. Fair enough. Anyway, so guys, thank you all so much for the support. We're coming up on 3:30 p.m. here. I gave these guys a strict hour-and-a-half time slot. Thank you all so much for being here on this awesome weekly domain. You guys are all awesome. Thank you all for hanging out with us for this time. We're gonna do another one next week. I want to thank my two guests, Zhoniin and QuirklessShinobi, for hanging out with me today and going over It's Like That, episode 6 of season 2. Do any of you guys have any closing thoughts on anything that we talked about today, or anything that you want to bring back up, or anything possibly we can do to move on from that awful segment that we just went over? Quirkless.
I think Shibuya has the benefit of not having them all fight in an anime dusty pit. You know the one I'm talking about, the Madara pit, the All Might versus All for One pit, where it always turns into like an exploded crater.
Zhoniin.
Yeah, it'll be somewhat, yeah, have a nice background and setting to it. Now that I think about it, yeah, the Dusty Pit is like a recurring, convenient little plot device. I mean, there might be a pit by the end of this arc, but they won't be fighting in it.
Yeah, the battle pit, the anime battle pit.
I'm gonna see if they make the ground become cubes. That's like a new cliche kind of thing that they're doing now too. Like when there's like a big impact, suddenly the ground, instead of like exploding, it just becomes like perfect cubes.
Yeah, that's to show how precise their attacks are.
I mean, ironically enough, that's something that, without spoiling literally happens. So maybe not to the ground, but to a you get it.
Yeah, I saw a cube in the intro.
Yeah, the cubes, the anime cubes, and they jump up on them when they fly in the air. That's super speed.
And Zhoniin, I'll let you get to your closing statement, but we actually got one more question. Donatello, thank you for the 10. With Kenjaku not knowing the result of breaking a vow between sorcerers and him being hundreds of years old, what do you think the consequence could be? I mean, I feel like we kind of talked about this a little bit, but like it is interesting that that's a nice little addition to the conversation, that like Kenjaku being thousands of years old, living in multiple different bodies, and without spoiling, it's something he literally says later, seeing all these different wars and political things and just countries coming and going, like that he has never once seen at all or even know what the what the downside to breaking a binding vow is. That's crazy to me.
I think he knows, personally. I think he's lying.
Okay. That's an interesting topic. Why do you feel that? Why do you feel that way?
Because Kenjaku, both Kenjaku and Tengen, they know something about cursed energy, and maybe even its origin that they are not telling anybody. And Kenjaku is far from a reliable person for information, especially when around the disaster curses.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I do feel like Kenjaku is kind of an unreliable narrator, especially like you said, when it comes to the disaster curses. I feel like he feeds them just the amount of information that they need to know, and In you saying that, Quirkless, it brings me back and thinking to like Full Metal Alchemist, where they have like kind of like the east side of alchemy and the west side of alchemy, where like they both like kind of have like different ways of viewing like cursed energy, and like they do know the secrets and the origins of it. So yeah, maybe he does know, and he just didn't feel like telling Mahito at that moment. He was just like, look, I don't recommend it, but I'm not gonna tell you exactly why. So,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I think the one of the biggest reveals in JJK will be the actual origin of cursed energy, because there's something there that's been slowly hinted at as we go further in the story.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely so much of sorcery that we don't even know. I mean, even in this season that we'll see, there's so much that characters do that we still don't really have an explanation for. So I'm definitely really excited to see that. Thank you again, Donatello, for the dono, and thank you all for the support of the show. I appreciate it. Zhoniin, we can get back to you now. Do you have any closing statements about the episode or anything that we talked about so far today?
Nope, I'm good. I think we had a good discussion on everything. Looking forward to the next episode and the next chapter.
Hell yeah. No, 100%. We've got nothing but Jujutsu Kaisen greatness pretty much on the horizon from this point forth. So I want to thank you guys both for being here. I do sincerely appreciate it. You guys definitely made this episode go along smoothly, and I appreciate the company always. Quirkless, thank you specifically. Do you have anything that you want to plug or anything that you want to tell the viewers that we currently have before we end the show?
Nah, man, I was just happy to be here.
Happy to have you, man. Tell the viewers a video that you have out or are going to have out very soon that you're excited to, show.
I want to talk about Yuta fighting Kenjaku at some point here, so I'm gonna make a video on that if that's something that interests someone.
Awesome. I'm excited to see that, because actually, that was one of my predicted fights, and I'm surprised that I'm still hoping it happens. I'm still holding out, but that was one of my predicted fights of the Culling Game arc. That rematch between Yuta and Geto that we've been waiting for. So I'm with you on that one. I'm excited to see it. Definitely go check out QuirklessShinobi's YouTube channel. His channel link is in the description. And also, Zhoniin, thank you specifically for being here. I appreciate you. And I know what you're already gonna say, but please, God damn it, give us a video that you are proud of that you want to share with the audience.
All right, I'll switch it up. Check out my TikTok, guys.
Ooh,
Trying to get big on TikTok. I've been posting a lot. So
if you pass me the link, I'll put it in chat. TikTok is where it's at. I know, unfortunately, a lot of the people that view a lot of our channels probably aren't able to use TikTok, sadly, because I feel like it's banned in a couple countries. But
oh, that's right.
That's what I always hear, at least. But like I said, I'm sure it depends on what a percentage of our audiences are.
It's banned in India for sure, and that's like over 5% of my audience.
Same for me, just about. I did post it in chat, though.
Nice, thank you.
No, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Anything else? I didn't mean to cut you off. I just kind of wanted to, because I don't have that in the description.
Nope, that's everything. All good.
Cool,
happy to be
man.
here.
Awesome. Happy to have you here. You guys are both great people. I did post Zhoniin's TikTok in chat, so definitely make sure you go to the link, go follow that. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you like the stream. I sincerely appreciate it, and your viewership. You guys are all awesome, awesome people. I will be having another stream tomorrow going over the chapter, just reviewing it page by page, and discussing what I think is going to happen next and what Zhoniin described is going to be one of the best chapters of the series. So I'm going to hold him to that and expect it.
Popular.
Most popular. Okay, I gotta correct myself. I can't put that on him. But guys, thank you all so much. Have a good one. Peace. All right, we are good.